All right. You are listening to the Deadman's Tome podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Deadman. This is the show that is way too damn sexy for YouTube because of this voice. That's why. So, ladies and gentlemen, control yourself, contain yourself. I know that there's power in this voice. Anyway, tonight we're not talking about horror. We're not talking about writing. We are talking about the lockdown. This lockdown that we are all in. So I guess we are talking about horror. I don't kind of keep this in the scope of the lockdown pertaining to America. The lockdown worldwide is we're seeing in other countries people are getting fed up with this, getting tired of this. We can go into detail about that. I should say that this show is not sponsored by, the Insidious cigars I smoke. And this 6-pack of freedom right here. Lone Star. Don't be a pussy. Drink Lone Star. Anyway. Let's do this. Okay, so let's start off from the top here. Coronavirus. When this thing was kicking off, I was talking about it. Back in, it seems like a year, but February, right? We were talking about the coronavirus. And it looked pretty grave over there in China, right? You saw how the Chinese were reacting. They locked down 14, 17 cities, over millions of people locked down, being welded into their apartment, bodies dropping all over the place. You see bodies dropping in broad daylight. Hospitals filled with dead bodies, body bags, so many, they couldn't bury them. They had to burn them. They were going to burn them anyway, I guess, because of the virus. That helped spread the fear, I think. I thought when the coronavirus hit here that it was going to be death. I think we all kind of had that fear. Now, the media didn't help, right? The mainstream media kind of pushed that fear out there that when this hits, bodies are going to be dropping everywhere, and hospitals are going to be overrun everywhere, and it's going to be hell. But that's not what happened at all. Not even close, right? They said there was going to be about 2 to 3 million dead in America by this time. That was the model that they had, right? Not even close. Not even close. We're looking at 100,000. That's sad. All right. I'm not joking about the 100,000. But I'm saying, is that really something we need to be frozen in fear over? Especially when most people who get the Wuhan flu, get the coronavirus, get the COVID-19, are going to recover and be fine. It looks like most people who get it, at least a lot of people anyway, don't even show symptoms and have antibodies to where they're not going to show symptoms anyway. They're going to be asymptomatic. We were told this. We were told it was going to be bodies dropping over the place. What you get is a few hot zones. You get a hot zone in New York City. Okay. That's grim. That's sad. You get a hot zone, and they said Louisiana was to be a hot zone. Supposed to be. It's really not that hot. Not if you look at it all. It's really not that hot. And when we lock down everything, well, we tell the hospitals to prepare for COVID. You know what they're not doing? They're not treating people for cancer. They're not treating people for strokes and all that. They're not taking care of that because they were expecting an overrun of COVID patients, which did not happen. They had emergency hospitals throughout this country, but I know specifically in Texas, emergency hospitals that were closed down because they were never used. The military hospital that was used, they sent it back. Because even in New York, Where did that one go? That went to California. But anyway, they sent it back because not really as grim as people predicted. It's good to be cautious, yeah. The whole idea about the lockdown was to flatten the curve, right? Flatten the curve. But when the curve gets flattened, then it's like, oh, well, now it's about we're not going to release the lockdown until we get a cure. Motherfucker, it's a virus. You don't just get a cure. You might get a vaccine, which will make your body be able to fight it off, be able to deal with the virus, which would be the same if you had antibodies already. Those that have that don't need the vaccine because they are the vaccine. Besides, this vaccine is magical miracle cure. Even if it does come out, it probably won't be all that effective. They don't know. They have no idea. So you can't shut down life and hope for that. For a, what was it like? They said 5%, but they're looking at it much lower than that. And I'll bring up stuff to really frame this here. But keep in mind, I want to hit this point. Hospitals didn't collapse. They didn't get overrun. In fact, if anything, you have hospitals laying off staff because they're not doing anything. People are afraid to go to the hospital because of, I'm going to catch COVID. And COVID equals death. But that's not reality. If you get COVID, you're not just going to die. It's not Ebola. God damn. Is your life going to be, are you going to suffer? Yeah. It's going to be a bad flu for you if you get it. It's going to be a bad cough. But you're not going to die. You got 38 million jobless. You got delayed chemo for over 650,000 patients. You got suicide spiking. And you have studies coming out showing that this lockdown isn't really working. And then you have countries that didn't lock down at all that are doing just fine. Just fine. Japan being one of them. But we live in fear. We live in fear. Why do we let it control us? Why do we let it get to us this way? It is crazy, right? I mean, you have hospital staff in California saying they've seen more suicides. They've seen more suicides than death by COVID. And yet we're supposed to stay locked down. You have some governors wanting us to stay locked down. What I'm going to show here in tonight's stream, tonight's podcast, are some videos. I'm going to play some videos. Now, if you're listening onto the podcast side of it, don't worry. Most of it is audio. So that's going to be what you'll be listening to, right? We don't need to live in fear like this. We can go out. You can socialize. You can have a good time. I hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend. I hope you did. I hope you went out, had a barbecue, had some burgers, had some hot dogs, maybe some steak, maybe some country-style ribs. Hope you had a gathering with your family, with your friends. Hope you had a good time. If you stayed indoors because you were afraid that if you go out, you're going to die, you bought into the fear. You bought into it. The same fear I thought was going to come months ago. Let me show you something. Wrong image. That was from when I was talking about Megan Fox on a previous episode. On the previous episode of the Deadman podcast, Mr. Deadman was talking about Megan Fox. Why? You got to listen to that one. Oh, man. All right, where is it? You have... All right. When this first came out, when we heard from the CDC that the best estimate for the fatality rate among Americans with COVID-19 was to be 0.4%. 0.4%. The best estimate. This is what we're afraid of. You know, when you have scientists and doctors talk about this with different opinions, like the doctors from California that were talking about this, their video was taken down. Their videos were taken down. If you put them up anywhere else on Facebook, you know what I'm talking about. The doctors from Bakersfield, Erickson, I think that's his name. They were talking about what it looks like to them in their area in California. They're not seeing this fear. In fact, it seems like most people who have it are doing just fine, aren't even suffering. I understand that in New York City, it's hell. I mean, I guess maybe Missouri. But we're not all in New York City. In fact, you know what? I think the I could let this man speak for himself. Sorry, I could let this man explain it. Let me do that. I'll let the governor of Florida explain it. I think he does a much better job. All right, let me pull it up here. Which one? All right, let me play this video real fast. Okay. Okay, I'll make sure it's all the way up, cranked up so everybody can hear. All right. And I'm go ahead and put it on the screen there. For those listening onto the podcast feed, do not worry, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Here we go. Let's let this man talk.
Data is available. Our data is transparent. In fact, Dr. Birx has talked multiple times about how Florida has the absolute best data. So any insinuation otherwise is just typical partisan narrative trying to be spun. And part of the reason is that because you got a lot of people in your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was going to be just like New York.
And they have a point there. What does New York have that Florida also have? A bunch of old people, a huge population of elderly, right? The old joke that the elderly from New York go down to Florida to retire, right? Well, the joke is true. It's reality. That's what happens. A bunch of old people in Florida. So people thought their grandmas and grandpas are going to suffer too.
Wait 2 weeks, Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened. Not only do we have a lower death rate, well, we have way lower deaths generally. We have a lower death rate than the Acela Corridor, D.C., everyone up there. We have a lower death rate than the Midwest, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. But even in our region, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida has the lower death rate. And I was the #1 landing spot from tens of thousands of people leaving the #1 hot zone in the world.
So let's look at that. Florida and New York are both places where people are coming from China or other countries that had had a big outbreak of the virus, of the COVID-19, right? They'll be going to Florida. They'll be going to New York. Some will be going to California. Where do we see a mass outbreak? In New York. Okay. Once again, New York and Florida both have an elderly population, a pretty big elderly population. You see a lot of deaths, COVID-related, in New York. You don't see that in Florida. Now, there's a few reasons why this could be. Could it be, I don't know, they say warm weather, hot weather actually helps to fight this thing. I mean, could that be? The other possibility is But Dr. Birx talked about, Dr. Birx talked about this on live on TV, that the numbers are played up, that some people are exaggerating the numbers, that the numbers are not accurate, up to 20 to 25%. Why is that? You know, some people thought it was fake news when Trump said that someone can be in a car wreck and if they have COVID in their system, they'll be counted as a COVID death. But that's not fake news. That has been happening, and it does happen. If doctors have even come out and saying that they're pressured to mark COVID as a death on the death certificate, that's not fake news. You have doctors coming out saying that. You have people who die from suicide. They kill themselves. They hang themselves. But guess what? They had the commie cough. Guess what? It's marked as a commie cough death. Isn't that disingenuous? That's a lie. That is a flat out goddamn lie. And that's happening. And then you have Cuomo saying these things like, oh, but it's not just a respiratory virus. It's affecting blood vessels and it's causing strokes. And you have these doctors. I'm hearing it from Cuomo. I guess he's talking on behalf of doctors. Or I guess he's a doctor. I guess I take his word for it. That the virus now affects your heart and it causes strokes. And then the virus does all these causes kidney failure. It's like, what is this? A magical virus? Like, some of these things don't seem related. And maybe the person had some other ailment, some other underlying health problems that when, I don't know, maybe shortness of breath made it worse. It's not death because of COVID-19. If they died of a stroke or died of their heart giving out, that's not a COVID death. But what do I know? I'm not a doctor. But you have doctors coming out saying they're being pressured. They're being pressured to mark deaths as COVID when it's not COVID related. You have Dr. Birx saying even these numbers are played up. So these numbers we see, which we'll talk about later on today, or this podcast, this episode, it's hard to trust them. It's hard to really trust them. Anyway, I'm going to let the governor speak some more.
To come to my state. So we've succeeded, and I think that people just don't want to recognize it because it challenges their narrative, it challenges their assumption, so they got to try to find a boogeyman. Maybe it's that there are black helicopters circling the Department of Health. If you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you.
Okay, now let me tell you something. Florida was pretty lax on the restrictions, right? Florida was pretty lax on the restrictions. And what is the Florida death rate? What is the Florida infected rate? Which, by the way, I'm not too concerned about the infected rate, or the number of infected, really. I'm more concerned about the number that are dying from it, and the number that are being recovered, right? Because that's important to look at. Let's see. Well, I looked this up. When I followed this about in February, and I saw the death numbers go up in China, oh man, I bought into that. This is grave. But then there was another number that kept on going up. In fact, it surpassed the deaths, and that was recovery. That was recovery. And it was like, wait, hold up. Like, more people are recovering from this than dying. Way more. In fact, it's surpassing it. That's a good sign. That is a really good sign right there. Okay. Florida has 2,252 deaths. Okay, and they were very lax on the restrictions. But, that's a lot of deaths, a lot of lives. Similar population to New York, right? And New York has what? New York has the grand total. Man, the grand total. New York really takes the cake on this one. They're the number one. 29,000. 29,229 dead in New York. But guess what? 64,000 recovered. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Now, we got to question the death number, though. After all, if they're marking things that are not really COVID related as COVID related, that's really, it really makes me doubt the number. Can't throw it all out, but you could probably subtract some off of that. Man. Then you have the state of Georgia, was it? Georgia. They opened back up on the April 22nd. They opened back up. And people thought there was going to be a huge spike in deaths over there. A huge spike. Well, not even. Not even. Yeah, you're looking at 1,849 dead within 3 months, 2 to 3 months. That's not bad. That's not bad if you compare it to other things that people die from, like cancer or heart attacks. See, we are putting life on pause. Some people are embracing lockdown because, yeah, some people are going to die. Some people may die from it. Not everybody, right? Just putting things on pause, on lockdown, because that. Oh, you can catch it. You can catch it. Like, look at these people. If it wasn't COVID, if COVID is taken care of, watch them live in fear for like anything that causes cancer. Because cancer, people die way more. The number of deaths for cancer-related issues is way higher than all of this stuff. So what, are we going to live in fear of everything that causes cancer? I mean, you guys are already trying to take tobacco away. I mean, I can only smoke in certain places. But you have other issues. If you live near a highway or a freeway, a lot of particles from even cars braking, that stuff and the fumes, that could be cancer related. Hey, they say eating meat and eggs could be cancer related. I remember they would say eggs causes cancer. Eggs don't cause cancer. Eggs cause cancer. They were all scientists, by the way. Anyway, we live in fear in this. Now, what's happening with this fear? You have governors. They have their orders. They have their lockdown orders. And of course, you have the police obeying them. Let's listen to what they have to say about this. I got one for you guys. Let me go ahead and pull it up here. All right, one moment here. I should have properly named these files. Oh. All right, let me go pull it up. This one right here.
We don't get to violate.
All right, let me go put it on the screen for those that are watching the stream. If you're listening to the podcast part, that's okay. You'll be fine. It's audio. That's important.
People's constitutional rights because somebody in our chain of command tells us otherwise. It's not how this country works. I got a call and it said, listen, the video needs to be taken down right now and you need to accept a letter of reprimand. Or we're going to take a very different approach to this if you say no again. As a police officer, I'm compelled to make this video. I've been in law enforcement for 10 years, and I'm speaking to my peers, other fellow officers, people in any kind of law enforcement position. I've seen officers nationwide enforcing tyrannical orders against the people, and I'm hoping it's the minority of officers, but I'm not sure anymore, because every time I turn on the television, every time I look to the internet, I'm seeing people arrested or cited for going to church, for traveling on the roadways, for going surfing, opening their businesses, going to the park with their families, or doing nails out of their own house.
These governors get pissed off because their orders are being violated. So they want to use the police as a tool, which they are essentially. No offense to those in blue, but when the governor gives an order, you are in fact kind of a puppet for them. You could say no, but what happens to the police when they say no? They get sent back to do the job, or they find someone else who will. And that is the harsh reality of it all. And I'll show you an example later on here in this episode.
Using their own house as a place of business and having undercover agents go there and arrest them and charge them with what? With a crime? I don't know what crime people are committing by doing nails.
You know what really paints a picture here, what really illustrates all this? People are being fined, being threatened with jail, being threatened by gun, being arrested because of opening businesses, trying to make money for them, trying to put food on the table. And you have criminals being released from prison because of fears of the commie cough. How does that make sense? How's that safe, right? How's that safety? You know, really, if this is all about safety and keeping us safe, why are we releasing prisoners? I don't give a rat's ass if some drug dealer in the prison gets the Wuhan flu. And why should you, right? They get a cough in there. Okay. Don't they have isolated rooms? If not, I guess I could deal with it. Well, there's an outbreak in prison. It's self-contained, right? It's contained. It shouldn't leak out unless the prisoners escape. Oh, it's inhumane? How is it inhumane? What are you talking about? It's a cough. It's a flu. It's a super flu. I'll give you that. But how is it inhumane? It's inhumane to release prisoners, and some of them are murderers, and some of them commit murder afterwards. That's been shown. Some of them rape and commit murder. Thanks for the safety. Thanks for the safety, y'all. Cigar time. Okay. Let's play the rest of this.
In their own house. But we're seeing this more and more and more. And we need to start looking at ourselves as officers and thinking, is what I'm doing right? Now, I want to remind you that regardless of where you stand on the coronavirus, we don't have the authority to do those things to people just because a mayor or a governor tells you otherwise. I don't care if it's your sergeant or your chief of police. We don't get to violate.
I like what he's saying. I like what this guy is saying. I like what Anderson is saying here. But the other side is, like, I hate to say it, but like I said before, police are used as a tool here to enforce these decrees that the governors pass. Is it unconstitutional? Definitely. And you can make that argument in court. Man.
People's constitutional rights because somebody in our chain of command tells us otherwise. It's not how this country works. Those are de facto arrests. You know, we're violating people's rights and taking money from them, or even worse, arresting them and depriving them of their freedom when they are exercising their constitutional rights. So let's talk about that. Let's read something right here off of the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. Among these, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their power from the consent of the governed, meaning our power and any government official's power is derived from the people.
That's how it should be. That's how it's supposed to be. But in theory, that's not what's happening here anymore. These governors are acting like little dictators, little kings and queens, exercising their power, getting drunk on power, and they are enjoying it. This lockdown was supposed to flatten the curve. The curve's been flattened. You can go ahead and open up now.
Okay? We don't hold power over our citizens. It's contradictory to everything that our country stands for. And this is what I'm seeing. First Amendment rights. Telling people they can't go to church. Freedom of religion. Okay? Telling people they can't protest. Freedom of assembly. Fourth Amendment violations. Illegal traffic stops to check for papers. What are you, the Gestapo? Is this 1930s Nazi Germany? You don't get to stop people unless you have reasonable suspicion or probable cause that they have committed a crime. And I know people that have personally been stopped saying, we want to see papers showing that you're essential.
David 2, copy a phone call.
That is not how our job works, okay? What really has been pissing me off lately is the fact that these officers that are going out here and enforcing these tyrannical orders, what they're doing is they're making my job and my safety, or they're putting my job and my safety at risk. Because what you're doing is you're widening the gap between public trust and law enforcement officers. And what that's going to do...
That's a similar thing what the police in Houston said. When the judge of Harris County said that she was going to make them fine people who didn't wear masks up to like, what, $1,000 something? It was dumb. Yeah, the police said, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. It was like a guy high up who said, we're not doing that. That's stupid. So then turned around and said, okay, fine. You just give them a mask. Which it doesn't matter anyway, because guess what? Most people here, they're not really wearing masks. And I don't really care. I don't really care. You know what? If 2 or 3, 5 months from now, if I get sick and I'm dying, sure, I guess I'll eat crow. Sure. But I don't see that happening. I do not. And I'm over here testing my lungs out with cigars. So, anyway.
Is it's gonna... I mean, look at what's happened to law enforcement in the last 10 years. Less and less public trust, and more often than not, that is a result of isolated incidents that get blown out of proportion. They're not isolated anymore. They're happening every single day. And the thing that I want you guys to realize is that our power that we hold as law enforcement officers is nothing more than a facade. It's a badge and a gun. And people, you don't realize, if you haven't lived in anarchy, if you haven't seen combat, things can be stripped from people in a heartbeat. And that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that these actions are going to wake a sleeping giant, i.e.
A sleeping giant? Ooh, I got some videos to play about that too. You know, I talked about this in the prior episode. I can't recall which one. Where the mayor of New York, he said something that was very in line with something that Hitler would have said. A warning to the Jewish community. Or, sorry, I believe I'm going to correctly quote the tweet. It was, attention, Jewish community. The time for warning is over. That right there is something no one should ever say at all, right? If Trump would have said that, he would have been crucified for it. The mayor of New York says it. No one bats an eye. Except for people like you and I who are like, wait, he said what? Let's see some of those videos. What? When you have police going into Jewish communities and messing with them, it does not paint a good picture. All right, let me play one of them right now. I think this is it right here.
Look what you guys are doing. They keep on coming if you guys are here. Close the big stores, not the...
Okay, this is part of it. You have a lot of police in New York City And this one particular part, okay? I'm not from New York. I don't know. They are guarding businesses. They're closing businesses down. They're closing small businesses down because, you know, that's the authority of the state. You can't make money. You're not making any money. How dare you make money? But the other businesses can. They can make money. What sense does that make? So you could go to Walmart and buy whatever, but you can't go to a local shop and buy something? You can go to Walmart or some other grocery store, have a transaction, support them. The big corporation gets that dollar, gets that profit. But a small store, you can't go there. That makes no sense. The sort of contact you have with people on the outside of the grocery store, especially when they're grabbing products, putting products back, especially if you're in the produce section, that's pretty close contact, right? Even if people are wearing a mask, someone grabs an apple, doesn't like that apple. It's a bad apple, puts it back down. Well, I mean, come on. If you're afraid of COVID, what just happened there? What about strawberries? You got to pick the right strawberries. You got to look at that stuff. What about avocados? You got to look at the avocados. You got to pick it up, make sure it's a good one. If not, you put it back. I'm not going to buy bad avocado. Right? That's pretty close contact. On that logic, you might as well just open up barbershops and stuff. You're getting pretty close contact there. It's silly to me. But anyway, these cops, they look more like rent-a-cops. I'll give them that. Their belt looks like it's weighing... All of them, they look like they're brand new. Their belt is weighing their pants. They look sad and funny. But they're guarding this building, the doors up to it, and the Jewish community is not happy. They're like, why are you shutting us down?
Look what you guys are doing. They keep on coming if you guys are here. Close the big stores, not the small businesses. All right? Look what they're doing.
Oh, and there's another part of that video. Let me play another part that really paints it, I think. Really paints that picture. This one. Okay. Same place, filmed by the same person. You have, it's a longer clip. Once again, police in this particular area of New York, messing with the same Jewish community here because the orders of the governor, the orders of the mayor, the same, man, I covered this too on this podcast where what do you have? Police beating people up, punching people in the face for not wearing a mask. The cop wasn't even wearing a mask. The cop wasn't even wearing a mask. You have police brutality for not wearing a mask. Anyway.
Please, spread out. Social distance, please. Please.
So the cop is trying to tell the rabbis social distance. They're like, okay, whatever. The street is packed. It is packed.
Respect my request, please.
Respect my private parts. They're taunting him saying Mother Russia. We're living in Russia now.
How come you only know Williamsburg and Borough Park? That's all. There's more places in Brooklyn. Do you know that?
I'm back to the stars on that. Why don't you go to Bedford Stuyvesant? Back up. Only Williamsburg and Borough Park.
Stand 6 feet. Stand 6 feet. Do you know any places besides Borough Park and Williamsburg in Brooklyn? Do you know? Do you know any other places?
Hey, that one officer doesn't have a bad ass. Anyway, but they are filming everything, and all these cops, they don't have enough cop cars for this. They're in black vehicles, black sedans, and they're telling them to leave. If you don't leave, come back and issue a citation. Okay, good luck on that.
Shame on you. Don't smile. Shame on you. Be ashamed of yourself.
Stop stealing their taxes.
Thank you.
Stop stealing their money.
Get out of the street and social distance. Get out of the street, and that is a lawful command. Get out of the street.
All right, officer in a Toyota. All right, officer in a Toyota. I'm gonna listen to you. I mean, this is get out of the street.
If I have to say it again, you're going to subject yourself to an arrest or fine. Get out of the street.
Arrest or fine. Yeah, I want to see a bunch of New York cops arresting rabbis for not social distancing. That's going to be a lovely look. You know what you're doing right here? All these people are just going to become like Trump supporters, or at least they're voting Trump, or at least voting. They're going to vote that mayor out. The moment they get a chance to, that mayor is gone.
Oh! Go back to Germany.
Go back to Germany. Oh, there we go. 2 official cop cars. Look at that. There we go. But they're not going to separate. They don't separate. It gets worse, though. It gets worse. Maybe not more anti-Semitic. It doesn't. But overbearing? Oh, yeah. It definitely does. It definitely does. We got this clip here. All this guy did was want to work out at a gym. That's all he did. What happened? He gets arrested. So the guy went into the gym to work out. He comes out, and cops arrest him. Cops arrest him. They just arrest him. They just arrest him for working out at a gym. Can't do that, bro. You can't go to a gym and work out because you might get COVID-19. But like I said before, you can go to CVS, you can go to Walgreens, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Kroger's or whatever they have over in this state. I don't know which state I'm looking at here anymore. They blend in now. You can go there. Oh, you could buy weed and liquor. You could buy weed and liquor, but you can't go to a gym and work out. So you got like 5, 6 cops. How many cops are there? Let's count. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5, 6 officers arresting one guy. Wow. Sounds chaotic, but yeah, the people are pissed. They're pissed. That's like, this is bullshit. I thought this was America, man. I thought this was America. This is what's happening here. Fuck that.
We live in a communist country. Our rights are being violated. All he did was try to walk into a gym. All he did was try to walk into a gym.
All I did was try to get healthy. He's just working out. Let's see. We have another one, also gym related. Now, I'm wondering, this is... Okay, check this one out. This officer goes to this gym, but he doesn't arrest anybody. Check this out.
Speak your piece and don't worry about it.
We are and we're only here for everybody's safety today. We plan for the worst, hope for the best, and it seems like that's what we have out here today.
Yes.
Formally, you are all in violation of the executive order. On that note, have a good day. Everybody be safe.
Okay. So the officer says, everybody have a good day. You're in violation of an executive order. And it's like he's going to go about his business. Let me go back and play the previous video because it kind of looks like the same badges.
To tell us not to show up today. And Ian told us not to show up today because they lied to him. They said that we were with him.
They are the same badges. They are the same badges. Wow. So much for that. So much for that. Oh, you're all in violation. Have a good day. We're going to come back and arrest you anyway. Arrest someone anyway. Uh-huh. You know why? I said it before. I said it before in this episode. I hate to tell you this, especially guys in blue. Ladies and gentlemen in blue. You guys are kind of tools. You guys are used by the governors to, enforce their order. And if you don't do it, you'll be sent back. So what I understand, the video where the officer was warning everybody and letting them go, well, it turns out that he was sent back. He was sent back and he issued everybody, people there, a citation. Issued everybody a citation. Let me show I'm going to put the citation on the screen here. And it's pretty, if you ever received a ticket from an officer, they're hard to read, right? I mean, they're horrible. But yeah, they issue everybody a citation that's there. And then there's a press conference, I guess, a press release. Belmar, New Jersey. This morning, Monday, May 18th, 2020, shortly after 8 a.m., Frank Trombetti and Ian Smith, and co-owners of Atlas Gym, reopened their business in violation of executive order issued by New Jersey Governor Philip D. Murphy. On March 21st, 2020, this order currently remains in effect. As a result of the direct violation, the terms and conditions are set forth. Mr. Trombetti and Mr. Smith were both charged on a summons with disorderly persons offense by the Belmar Police Department. So, you can have a dispensary. You could sell weed. You can be a liquor store, sell liquor and booze. I don't have a problem with that, but you could do that. You could be a Walmart and sell your stuff. You could be a grocery store and sell your stuff. What you can't do is be a gym, because more person-to-person contact, any more person-to-person contact than going to a grocery store? Are you kidding me? People sweat. The air circulates. People sweat at grocery stores too. The air circulates. Ugh. It's batshit insane, man. And now I can see why people wonder if whether or not we're living in some sort of test. If this is some sort of test to see if what they can get away with. Because some of these decisions and policies, these executive orders, these governor orders, they don't make any sense. Now, I got another one I can show you guys. This one is not in the US of A. This is in Canada. This is an officer going into someone's house to arrest them because they decided to go on a hunger strike for religious reasons. Not for religious reasons, but to protest against the government. So what does the government do in Canada? Well, they sent RoboCop in there to arrest him. So what they're doing is they are going on a hunger strike, and RoboCop, Canadian RoboCop, goes in there and arrests them. I'm not making this up.
That's no problem. You can record.
I don't need you.
Do you want to set it up? Am I okay to talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So as a result of speaking to my partner yesterday, there's concerns. I prefer to stand if you're okay with that, please and thank you. After speaking to my partner yesterday, there's some concerns for your safety, right? We understand what your standpoint, right? The reason why you're doing what you're doing is to take a stand against the city, correct?
Not a city.
Government.
The government. Okay, yes, the government.
You come in here like this. Mm-hmm. Are we so dangerous to you? Look at that.
And when I say RoboCop, I'm not joking. The police officer, it's two police officers, but there's one has a very thick thing of body armor, right? He's dressed in all black. He looks like a fucking Darth Vader. Like if you did not know any better, you would think he was a Darth Vader just without a helmet on. And then he has that one of the canines, one of the dogs. And then there's the other guy, the other officer, who doesn't look as imposing, but he's still there.
I hope not. I hope everything goes smoothly.
Why did you come at 8 o'clock? It's our time to go to sleep, actually.
My apologies. My apologies for coming at a time that's not convenient for you.
But why did you come?
You know, Canadian police need to work on their apologies because that did not sound sincere at all.
I was going to let you know. You had some questions for me, and now the reason why I'm telling you why we were here. My colleagues came out yesterday. They submitted a report based on your interactions. We have some concerns for your well-being and your safety. Okay.
Thank you. So very nice of you.
It's so nice of you. It's so hypocritical, actually.
What I'm here to let you know is that based on the concerns that were put forward yesterday with your report, we have contacted a judge, and the judge has issued what's called a Form 2. What that is to do, and it directs me, being a police officer, that I'm to take both of you to St. Joseph's Hospital right now for an examination.
No way.
No way.
Unfortunately, I don't have that. We don't have that discretion.
No right.
You have no right.
You have no right to do that.
You have no right.
No.
That's what this is for. I can let you know.
So the officers, because they're so worried about these citizens, because they're hunger strike, because a protest, because they were not allowed to practice their religious freedom. I don't know if they even have religious freedom there in Canada. I have no idea. Probably not anymore. So concerned for their safety, being a Karen. I don't know if that's even the right thing anymore. But so concerned. He decides, you know what? Let me do the right thing and talk to the judge and see if I can order them to go get an evaluation. How about the officer just stay in his goddamn fucking lane? How about that? They're just going on a hunger strike. Are there kids in the mix? Are they forcing their kid to go on a hunger strike? That would be a different thing. These are two grown-ass adults. Two grown-ass adults that are going on a hunger strike. Even if they went all the way and they died in the house, I still would say the officers should stay in their goddamn fucking lane because that's their goddamn choice. But whatever.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's a form for the Ministry of Health that's been backed by a provincial judge.
We don't care about it.
Okay, that's neither here nor there if you care or not. This is my authorities and this is what I have to do.
Wow.
So I beg of you to come cooperatively.
No.
So you're not going to come cooperatively.
I don't,
so what?
You're not
I've seen this part of the video, but I've not seen the rest of it.
authority.
Okay.
Our God is authority. You cannot do this.
That I respect that for you. Unfortunately, my standpoint and my position is that I'm paid to enforce this. Okay, this is my job.
He's paid to enforce it. He is a tool. He is a tool. More importantly, more accurately, a weapon.
This is my job. This is my role. I have an obligation.
Wow,
I took an oath to serve and protect.
You're really humble.
And just to let you know, I'm here to protect you. The reason why I want to take you there is to protect you guys, to make sure that you're safe. Wow. So what happens is we go to St. Joseph's Hospital.
You're hypocrite.
You speak to the doctor.
You
speak to the doctor.
You're hypocrite.
Okay. I don't believe I am. That's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion.
You're evil.
Okay. That's your opinion. You don't know me.
Forcefully to take us to hospital.
Well,
Are you kidding me?
I don't want to do it forcefully. That's why I'm hoping that you'll assist me.
Why are you even there, officer? Oh, you're so concerned. You're so concerned. Come on.
You'll
that's hypocrite.
that you'll accompany me.
That's a hypocrite.
Why am I a hypocrite?
Because you're forcing me.
Because you're saying it's for our
So
safety.
what this is saying, yes, you're right. This is forcing us to make you go to the hospital. That's right. That's what these are. These are.
We don't care. Who said this is us?
So what I'm asking is that you come cooperatively.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
And no.
I would rather not go hands on with you. I don't want to force you physically.
Wow.
This form, guys, just, and I'm a mental health worker, okay? I'm not a police officer.
Oh, there's another police officer in the back. And then there's a mental health worker. Oh my God. She looks like she cares so much. She needs to lay off the goddamn donuts if she cares about herself.
This is an involuntary examination of hospital. What this means is it's not in the police discretion any longer, or as a mental health worker, this form is valid, signed off by a justice of the peace. They cannot walk away. It's involuntary examination, not admission, examination.
You people
so
sick.
what we're asking is
Very
we're
sick.
asking for cooperation.
Very sick.
You're going to go down, you're going to be seen at the hospital, and you're going to meet with the doctor. That is what that form
You're
says.
very sick.
So,
Your
like
voice
the
very
officer is
sick.
asking today, we would really like
This
to keep
this is
cooperation.
intrusion.
This is.
There's not
We
a-
don't. We are
This is
not.
a
We are not a
fascist-
threat.
Fascist deal.
We are not
You're all
threat.
fascist in this case. You take us forcefully.
Again, you're absolutely entitled to your opinion. I'm an unbiased source, and I'm doing this strictly for the concern of your safety. And that's why I hope that you will
Are we
accompany me.
threat to anyone?
Let me
You will pay.
just some advice. The easier that things go right now, the easier things can go at the hospital.
Doctor.
This has nothing to do with your.
Now the cop is getting closer. Okay. The film, it's being filmed by, I'm assuming his wife, I don't know. And then the other guy is on the couch. They're both sitting on the couch. He's sitting on one, and she's sitting on the adjacent one, and she has the camera or cell phone recording. And he's getting closer to them. This officer is. This RoboCop is.
Standpoint, your beliefs, what's going on with your
You're
standpoint with the
forcing,
government,
you're
your taxes,
forcing our
that has
body
nothing to do with any
to
of that.
move somewhere. It's already forced.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
we are.
Yes.
We are. We agree. We are.
Against our
but
will.
We don't want to have to physically force you, okay?
I don't have
We
to
have-
listen to you.
I like how they all try to say the same thing as if it's going to matter, right? They said no. You know, when I worked at a psych facility and you talk to clients like this, it's like, I'm usually the guy or one of the guys in the back. They're like, man, you guys already gave all the warnings. Time to talk is over. Let's go hands on. These guys are afraid to go hands on. They don't want to do it. They shouldn't even be there. Don't get me wrong. But they just blab, 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 blab.
You, when you do, sir, because otherwise we have to go hands-on, we have to handcuff you and put you in the back of a cruiser. We don't want
Because
to do
you're
that.
not my authority. Because you're not our authority. Our authority is God.
We're acting under our authority, okay?
I don't care.
And I respect you. You
I
don't
don't care.
agree with that authority.
I don't care.
But we do have that authority,
I don't care.
okay? So who wants to go first? So this is going to happen, folks, but it's just a matter of how you.
Barefoot.
You want to go barefoot? Okay. Can you stand up, please, sir?
However you want.
Can you stand up, please?
No. You have to stand up.
Can you stand up, please? Please do this. I beg of you, one last time I'm going to ask you. Stand up on your own.
But they just pick them up and they carry them.
Put your hands behind your back, please.
They cuff them. Am I being detained? You are being detained. You're being cuffed. Is he being arrested? No. They do this for safety. Officers do this for safety now. They do this in America too. This is not just a Canadian thing.
Is that okay? Is that too tight?
Ma'am, would you like a bag or anything? Socks and flip-flops?
Ma'am, would you like a bag or something?
You
Can you stay still and no
What do you guys want to do about the dog?
You will pay for this.
Oh, that's their dog. Okay. It looked like a police dog. A nice looking dog. Oh man, we talk so much. I have a funny feeling this stream is probably on YouTube going to disappear outright out of everything we talked about. So sad. So sad. Like I said, not writing related, not horror related. And some of you may not agree with this. Some of you may not agree with this. That's fine. I get it. you're still living in fear. And some of you might want to try to convince me that I'm wrong or that I should embrace the fear. You know what? Fear sells. Fear sells a lot. And a lot of people buy it. It is so easy to buy. But I'm done. I'm not buying the fear. I'm not buying it. Fear sells, but I'm not buying it. And maybe you shouldn't either. But at the end of it, you can live your life how you want to. Right? I'm not going to tell you how. Be safe, whatever that means to you. All right? Y'all have a good one. Y'all take it easy.